Welcome to the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. We discuss 6 questions in 9 minutes because leaders know how to be concise. We will jump right into it. First question, in a few sentences, tell us who you are and what you do.
Yeah, I'm Kate Anderson. I'm co-founder of iFundWomen, and I help women raise capital and accelerate growth for their startups through coaching, crowdfunding, and connections on iFundWomen.
Fantastic. It's a great concept. Question number 2, what's the best thing about working with a team?
Yeah, so I've always been an athlete. I've always been on a team. I love teams. And I think the best thing is really having a lot of different players that are essential in kicking the ball down the field and in winning, and knowing that there's not one person that can do it. Having a lot of people with diverse opinions and backgrounds really helps to ensure that you have a product and service that a large number of people want and need and works for them.
That's great, great response. Question number 3, I hear from other leaders of teams that it can be a challenge to get team members engaged. Tell us your thoughts.
We have not had that problem at iFundWomen. We have an awesome team, but I think that you constantly want to be thinking about how are we rewarding our team? How are we inspiring our team? People respond differently. Some people are motivated by money. Some people are motivated by the type of work that they do. Some people are motivated by praise. And I think really listening, looking at how your audience or your team responds to things, and making sure that you are always keeping them in mind as you are growing your company and as you are rewarding people and offering praise. Make sure that you're always putting them in front of yourself when you're leading a team. That always looks so much better. You never want to say, like, it was just me, or I was the one that won the championship, right? It's a whole team that wins a championship, and it is many different people that are working together. And I think what we see on a team of, we have 15 people, is there are some people whose work is really obvious and who get a lot of accolades because they do something that's very public facing. There are other people that are like keeping the wheels on the bus. They get no praise. They're just making sure that things function, and make sure those people get praised, get lifted up, and stay motivated and are excited. And I think, honestly, just like shouting people out on Slack is the best way to do that.
Well, those are great ideas because so much of that is necessary to recognize. I like how you said the individualization of each person is so important. How they want to be recognized is going to be different from person to person. I think that's outstanding advice. Thank you for sharing that. Question number 4, what other piece of advice do you have for leaders of teams?
Listen. And it's something I really need to practice myself. I am not by nature a listener. I have historically been the type of person who somebody is responding and I'm formulating my opinion or what I want to say next in my head. And I've gotten that feedback from several people in my life, so it is clearly true. But my advice is to listen, is to be able to hear what people are going through. You don't have to solve every problem for people in your team, but listening clearly and empathetically, being a human, not just expecting your team to operate as operators, understanding that things in their personal life can impact their work life, and being a sympathetic ear towards that, and really treating people. I mean, it's like the simplest thing, but treat people how you want to be treated. If you are someone that responds well with a lot of honesty and directness, treat people in that same way and make them feel like grown-ups, right? Like, don't baby people. I think that if you're hiring people because you trust them, you respect them, you think they're going to do a good job, don't hold their hand. Allow them to do their job and don't baby them.
Wow, that's such great advice, to always listen. I like how you said that, to listen, and you're right. There's always some refinement all of us are working on, so you're not alone in trying to learn how to listen better. But that's great words of wisdom. Thank you. Question number 5, what other successful team leaders, such as yourself, would you like to recognize that have had a positive influence in your life?
Yeah, somebody I have really liked and admired, Amy Nelson, who's the CEO of The Riveter and has done a really great job of being outspoken about what it's like to raise a Series A stage company and raise 4 little kids. I think that that's really impressive. I like anybody who's able to share their ability to be a leader really honestly, which means not to glamorize what they do, to be really specific about mistakes that they've made and how they could act better. And that's any number of people, but I'm always really curious to learn more about that. I'm reading a book right now about Winston Churchill when he was leading World War II, when he became prime minister, which was in 1940. And the Germans started bombing London. And we think of him in such a glamorous way now, but really the book really humanized him, of things that there were flaws and things he could improve on. But I think that the thing the British people liked best about him overall is he treated them with respect and dignity, and he had real empathy for the situation that they were going through. And I think that's the key of any leader, is to really be empathetic for the people that you are leading.
Mm. That's great advice. And thank you for recognizing those individuals as well. Sixth question, tell us about your first job.
So I thought about this question. I've had a couple of different jobs. I've always, from a young age, loved making money. So I babysat all of the time. Really, that was kind of my biggest job. I worked in a coffee shop, which I absolutely loved. It's such a great place to work because it smells so good. But I think truly the first time I made money for doing something was in the, I don't know when it was, but I went to Take Your Daughters to Work Day with my dad. And my uncle worked there. My cousins went, and my brother went. It was Take Your Kids to Work Day. And he worked, he was a bond trader in the World Trade Center. And he worked, a bottom floor is a mess. People are getting up and down. It's not a place for Take Your Kids to Work Day. People are swearing all of the time. And I don't know why, but I got it into our head. And maybe it was someone gave the idea that you should, that we would go get soda just from the fountain soda machine, and they would pay us for it. And it was all men. So we did it. We made $50. Because half the guys had change and half of them didn't have any change, and we weren't cutting change. But we left there with $50, and it's so funny. I remember it, and I remember we came home and my aunt was so mad about it because she thought Take Your Daughters to Work Day, this isn't what they're supposed to learn about. But as I've gotten older, I've reflected on that, and I thought that's wrong. We went in there and we made $50, and I was 10 that we didn't have before. For me and my brother, my two cousins, that was gangbusters. That was so genius. And these idiots were paying us money when they could just get up and walk to the soda machine. But we turned a profit on that. My dad did make us give the change that we had to the doorman that held the door to the path train coming up, because my dad liked that guy. And I was, wanting to do good, but also that was a lot of money for us. Yeah. But I feel that was my first real turn into entrepreneurial, to be an entrepreneur, is figure out where's the market opportunity, people who it's more valuable for them to be on their phone, offer them a service. And then we would have all different contests. Could you guess what soda combination we did? And we were pretty good. I was pretty impressed with us.
I love that story. I love that story because it is, I'm an entrepreneur at heart as well. And I love the fact that you took that opportunity to figure out a way to make money, even though the traditional way would have been just go and show up and observe, take notes, and go back and report in class or whatever it was.
Totally.
But good for you, and good for you for sowing those seeds of entrepreneurism.
I know. They had a whole curriculum for us to go to, and I still don't understand the bond market, and my family's still in it, and I have no interest in that. But that showed me that if someone will pay for a service, you can make good money off of something.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you. Well, Kate, thanks so much for being on the podcast today. How can people find you?
Yeah, so you can find anything that we're doing at iFundWomen at iFundWomen on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, all the places. And then I'm at Anderson.Kate on Instagram and Kate Anderson on LinkedIn. And those are kind of the two places that I am.
Well, very good. This is Sean Richards with the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. For more ideas, you can find us on LinkedIn by searching Blue Sky Business Consulting. Thanks for joining us, and have a great day.